Hi, I'm Shannon McGee, strategic business coach and franchise owner with Network in Action here in the metropolitan Nashville area. And today I have Thomas Jordan with Health Markets. Thanks for joining me today, Thomas.
Thank you, Shannon.
So we've had a conversation in the past, and you have such an interesting story. And I would love for you to share, how did you get into health insurance, right? Individual health and Medicare. Tell me a little bit about your
Sure.
story.
Okay, so back in 2016, my family and we decided to make a move to Indiana. I have a special needs child with autism, and at the time, Indiana was one of the few states that mandated health insurance had to cover like behavioral health therapies. So that's why we moved to Indiana. So we moved, no jobs, sold our house, and basically lived off that, and that's kind of how that happened. So moved there. We knew we needed health insurance, so I just went online and started searching, and found this agent named Josh that lived in the Indianapolis area, and he came to our house and talked to us about health insurance and told him our story. And then he just said, "Hey, are you looking for a job?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And so it kind of just went from there, as far as getting licensed, and that was a very long process to get licensed. Um, but that's kind of how I fell into it. But then once I did get into it, it became a real passion for me. My family, I have a very large family history of medical field. Both my grandfathers were doctors. Two of my uncles were doctors. I have my grandparents were my grandmothers were nurses. I've got physical therapists, speech therapists, all this kind of stuff. But I did not inherit the biology and chemistry gene. So this is the best way for me to help people, is to, help them with their health and Medicare insurance.
You know what I love about that story is you were the client, right? Like before you went into this field, right? You had a need and you did the research and it's painful. And how do you find that person? And you were fortunate to find somebody to help you in that process. But when you couple that with your family story, it's pretty remarkable. And I would, it sounds like it's probably also something that sets you apart from others in your field, right? That who you serve and how you serve them.
I think so. And then also having a special needs kid really, I think, kind of sets me apart as well, because when I'm talking to people who have a special needs child or even a special needs adult child, I can, have that internal sympathy because I go through it myself.
Yeah.
And, I know the ins and outs of what they've gone through to find the proper insurance for their kids or for their family.
That was something that I have lots of conversations with people, but I wasn't familiar with when you were talking about both the Medicare side of things and others. I mean, there's a lot to navigate when you're dealing with special needs and disabilities. And, having someone who's lived through that and is not just like, this is what the book tells me to tell you is pretty important, Thomas. Um, kind of along those lines, what's the favorite part about what you do?
I think my favorite part is probably dealing with my Medicare-age clients, because when they turn 65, I don't know if you know this, probably because you're not 65 yet, but Social Security, they just basically send you a book. They send you a bunch of information, you're getting a bunch of stuff in the mail, and they're basically like, figure it out. So they are truly on their own and have no clue of what, and it's about educating the people on what their options are, because there are so many options for them. And for me, the way I try to explain to people, and kind of my mantra, it's not a one size fits all. It's a
Mhm.
one size fits one person. I basically cater the plan to the individual person. I don't
Mhm.
try to just lump people into one group or to one carrier or anything like that. It really depends on what their specific needs are.
Mhm. It's important to have a guide along that process, like a living person who's a guide, because man, there's these TV commercials all the time, and
Oh,
you just
yes.
get put into some call center, and they don't care to know you. They just want to sell you quickly. And so having a partner that's willing to educate, and I love that that's the look at what's best for you and your circumstances. That's pretty powerful, Thomas.
It's funny you mentioned call centers because that's one of the lines I always use towards the end of my sale. Is I always tell them, I was like, look, I'm not a call center. You're going to call this number. You're going to get me. You will always come to me. You're not going to go to somebody else. It will always be me. So I want them to understand that they're not just going to, I'm not a fly by night.
Yeah.
Um, and I pretty much tell the people, I say, I intend to do this for at least another 15 years. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not going anywhere. I was like, I'm 55. I'm going to do this at least until I'm 70, just because I enjoy it. I enjoy helping the people. And so, I just want to be able to continue doing this.
That's awesome. Well, with that note, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Thomas?
The best way to get a hold of me is you can call or text me at my number, 615-347-3145. You can email me at tjordan@healthmarkets.com, or you can go to look me up on Google on the internet at Thomas Jordan at Health Markets, and you'll be able to find me here in Spring Hill, Tennessee.
That's awesome. Thanks for joining me today, Thomas.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Shannon.